Welcome back to my channel. I am back with another review. This review is for Baddies USA Chapter 2, Episode 7, so let's just get right into it. So the baddies finally end up arriving in Arizona after a crazy, chaotic bus ride there, and Natalie ends up showing up to the radio station because she's taking some of the baddies for an interview, and when she shows up, Summer is there because she had an interview right before them, and Natalie tries to warn Summer that she should probably leave because a lot of the girls that are coming to the interview for the radio station are her ops, but we know how Summer is. She's down for all of the drama, so she told Natalie she doesn't care who's coming, she wants to sit and watch the interview. And honestly, I don't think that was a good idea because the interview was crazy. Because Rolly, Dolly, Tavy, Diamond, and Cole Killer were the girls that were doing the interview at the radio station, and a lot of those girls do not like Summer, so immediately they all start going back and forth with Summer. Summer starts pressing them first. They didn't really acknowledge her. She started coming at Dolly, she started coming at Tavy, and then her and Rolly ended up getting into a back and forth. And while the host was trying to interview the girls, Summer started making noises in the background, and I'm like, damn, this is like really unprofessional. I mean, it's entertaining to watch, but when it comes to you being invited to radio stations, a lot of stations might not let you come back after that. She starts telling Rolly that her glasses are fake, and then she starts going back and forth with Diamond because Diamond wants her to be quiet because Diamond really wants to promote her music. So Diamond takes a water bottle and she chucks it at Summer's head, and it connects too. So because things were getting crazy, they finally ended up removing Summer from the interview, and Summer was outside the door tapping on the window, making noises, acting crazy, and I'm like, damn, this is why the girls be trying to fight Summer all the time, because she does the most, but it is entertaining to watch nonetheless. But honestly, whether Summer was there or not, this interview was going to go left anyway, because honestly, the host was being pretty damn messy, and we saw clips going around when this season was filming of Dolly going back and forth with this host because she felt some type of way about the questions she was asking about Big Lex, and then Rolly actually ended up getting up and leaving the interview because the host brought up the whole reunion situation where Janisha was asking Scotty about her pregnancy, and Natalie started laughing, and because Rolly felt like the interviewer was trying to come at Scotty, she decided to leave the interview. And honestly, I think that's real of her to leave and defend Scotty when she wasn't there. However, I feel like the host was just doing her job. The show is messy, so at the end of the day, the questions that the host is going to ask you are going to be messy questions, and these girls, I feel, need to learn how to handle themselves better in these types of situations. But Natalie says that she wants a house meeting. That's what she said when the girls were on the Sprinter on their way to Arizona. She said that as soon as they come, they're doing an emergency house meeting. So it was all the Cabaret girls except for, I think, Egypt, and then Pressure and Persuasion was there. And honestly, the Cabaret girls were going back and forth with each other because Amber felt some type of way about Neek telling the Cabaret girls at the beginning of this season that they were going to have each other's back. But then when it came time for her to have their back, they felt like she didn't. So they started yelling and screaming at each other. Amber is telling Neek that she wants to fight her as soon as her stitches get taken out of her face, and Neek is trying to express herself, and you got, Amber in the background mocking her. She gets on the piano, she starts making a song about Neek, and I'm like, this is crazy, this is a mess. I mean, I know Neek did say that all the Cabaret girls should stick together, but at the end of the day, I feel like if it's a one-on-one fight, there's no reason for all of them to jump in, so I don't feel like Neek really had to stand on business with any of them because none of them were getting jumped. I mean, when Amber fought Tavy, that was one-on-one. When Amber fought Tesehki, that was a one-on-one fight that she started, And when Kanaya fought Bahati in last week's episode, that was a one-on-one fight. So none of these fights were anything that Neek had to get involved in. So I can understand why they feel some type of way, but at the same time, I don't feel like Neek really did anything wrong. But that was messed up that the Zeus Network had these girls sitting in that house for a long period of time waiting for all the other baddies to show up, not realizing that none of them were actually going to show up. Because Natalie ends up FaceTiming them and letting them know that they were supposed to do a house meeting, but because of the way the girls destroyed that house in LA, she said that they could not do a house meeting at the house, so she's going to set up a rehearsal for the girls to do, and that's where they're going to do the little house meeting. And I just don't understand why they waited this long to tell these girls that they weren't actually doing a house meeting. They done wasted these girls' damn time. Tommy and Summer are having a conversation before they end up going to this little rehearsal meeting that they're doing, and Tommy ends up asking Summer if she slept with Dolly too the way that she slept with Lex, because she feels like things are too tense between them, so she feels like something more had to have happened. But Summer says that nothing ever happened between her and Dolly, and she basically said that she wasn't interested in having anything happen between her and Dolly. And look, I believe Summer. I don't think that her and Dolly ever did anything because Dolly said said that she is not with that. She does not swing that way. So I completely believe her when she said that nothing ever happened between her and Dolly. I honestly wish they would stop talking about this situation between Dolly, Lex, and Summer. I just think that it's done and over with. They're not friends anymore. We know what happened between Lex and Summer. I don't feel like we need to bring it into this season too. But everybody ends up showing up to this rehearsal, and Rolly was saying that she was confused because she doesn't understand why there's 2 rehearsals set up. And I was thinking to myself, this is not really a rehearsal, this is fight night, because you weren't able to do the house meeting at the house, so she decided to put together this fake rehearsal so that you guys could get together and there could be some fights that go down. But as soon as Biggie walks in, Natalie immediately starts addressing her. I don't know what Biggie did to her, but she was not happy with Biggie in this moment because she was coming at her, and I was confused as to where it was coming from, because she started telling Biggie that she acts like a diva all the time, and she starts telling Biggie basically that all the girls ended up fighting an outsider for her last season, and Biggie was really nowhere to be found. And look, I do think that Biggie is not a fighter, and I think we all know that, so trying to push her to be a fighter is not going to happen. Biggie is going to run, she's going to hide behind security. We already know that about her, so even though some of the things that I think that Natalie is saying to Biggie is true, I think it's pointless because we know Biggie's not going to do anything anyway. Biggie's on this show strictly because she makes money from it and because she wants her music to get out there and to pop, and that's why she's there. She's not there to fight, and I think it's okay to not be a fighter, but I don't think it's okay to be on this show and be scary. I think if somebody does press you, you should be able to handle yourself and defend yourself, and to me, that's where Biggie falls short. But Natalie bringing all this up now as soon as Biggie ends up walking in the door didn't make any sense because Biggie came in and she didn't do anything wrong, so I just didn't know what Natalie was trying to do. And at this point, Biggie's feeling like Natalie's trying to get her to fight, so she ends up asking her security to get on the stage with her, and Natalie feels some type of way about that because she feels like none of the girls are going to touch Biggie, and I don't think any of the girls would have touched Biggie either, so I don't think it was necessary for her to be scared, but she does know that this show can be very unpredictable, so I don't blame her for wanting her security to be on stage with her. But K-Rican ends up walking in, and her and Tinka immediately start going at it, and I'm just like, I am so tired of Tinka fighting Cold Killer and Tinka fighting K-Rican. I am so over it. I understand that K-Rican did mention her daughter. She didn't talk bad about her daughter, but she did mention her daughter in a conversation, knowing that the two of them were beefing. And so I get why Tinka feels some type of way, but she's already beat that girl up so many times. So I just feel like it's unnecessary to keep fighting her. And we all know that K-Rican can't fight. So Tinka won both rounds that she fought with K-Rican, and then she took K-Rican's wig and she put it between her butt cheeks. And I'm like, see, she's doing that with everybody's damn wig. Just be prepared to lose your wig and not have it anymore after you fight Tinka, because she's gonna put it between her legs. But then K-Rican throws an egg, and I'm like, where the hell did that come from? I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then Natalie ends up telling Biggie out of nowhere that she's not performing because she doesn't like her attitude, because Biggie did call Natalie a bitch when they were going back and forth with each other, but Natalie did start with Biggie, but I can understand her not wanting to be called out of her name because she didn't call Biggie out of her name. But because Ciroc and Mariah were going back and forth on social media during this time, as soon as Ciroc showed up to rehearsal, she immediately got on stage and started walking up on Mariah, but security ended up getting in the way, not allowing Ciroc to get to Mariah. And Mariah starts saying that Ciroc is weird for going after her when she's like the smallest girl in the house, and it's like, she is the smallest girl in the house, but you shouldn't be talking shit to people that are bigger than you and then trying to use your size as an excuse to not get touched. I'm not saying that Ciroc should fight Mariah, but what I'm saying is if you know you're smaller than somebody and they can beat you up, you probably shouldn't be talking about them if you don't want them to touch you. But the way Ivory snatched up Mariah when Ciroc was walking up and Mariah was trying to walk towards her was funny, because I feel like Ivory was genuinely annoyed with Mariah Lynn because she knew that Mariah Lynn wasn't going to end up fighting Ciroc anyway, and she knew that Mariah was going to get beat up if she did fight Ciroc. But the look on Ivory's face when she snatched up Mariah, you could tell that she was completely aggravated, and I understand. But when Ciroc did try to fight Mariah, that's when Natalie ends up calling out Biggie, because the only reason why these girls are beefing with Ciroc in the first place is because Ciroc came in and attacked Biggie last season, and so all the girls ended up jumping Ciroc, so she feels like that's what started the beef between all these girls and Ciroc. Biggie tried to say that those girls did not fight Ciroc for her, they fought Ciroc because they wanted to, and I don't agree with her. I believe they did fight Ciroc because Ciroc attacked Biggie, otherwise there would be no reason for them to fight Ciroc in the first place. However, I do agree with Biggie that Mariah Lynn has been online talking shit about Ciroc, so if Ciroc shows up to rehearsals trying to fight her, it's because of the things that Mariah is saying, and I don't feel like it's for Biggie to jump in and get involved. But Ciroc ends up walking on stage trying to get to Mariah, and Tesehki just takes off on her, just starts popping her in the face and the back of her head. And I was like, damn, Tesehki definitely got in there with her. Now, Mariah did try to swing on Ciroc while Tesehki was fighting her, but security did snatch her up and got her up out of there. But Tesehki definitely got that to me. And then Ciroc and Tesehki do go head up. They do fight another round. And this round, people were saying that Ciroc won. But when I slowed it down, Ciroc definitely did not win that fight with Tesehki. Tesehki won to me. She didn't just whoop Ciroc, but she definitely won that fight to me, because even when Ciroc snatched up, Tesehki by her wig, Tesehki was still swinging and she connected a few hits to Ciroc's face while Ciroc was pulling her wig. So to me, Tesehki won that. And I feel like it's not even up for debate. If you're not biased and you watch the fight in slow motion, you can clearly see that Tesehki was connecting hits to Ciroc even when Ciroc was pulling her hair. So to me, Tesehki won that fight. But Tavy and Summer end up showing up, and Tavy immediately goes after Summer because Summer was apparently on live and she mentioned something about Tavy's son. She didn't talk negatively about Tavy's son. She talked about Tavy as a parent. But once you mention somebody's child or their parenting in a conversation, when you know you're beefing with a person, they're immediately going to take it like you're talking about their kids. So Tavy got Summer real quick. It wasn't really a fight. Tavy did win, if you want to call it a fight, but it wasn't really one to me. And Rolly and Summer start going back and forth, and Summer starts saying that Rolly was trying to get Lex and Dolly to put her hands on her, and Lex said that nobody told her and Dolly to hit her. And so they're going back and forth with each other, and Lex just runs up on Tommy from behind and she starts whooping her. And look, I know people are going to say sneaking Tommy doesn't make sense because Tommy can't even really fight, but I feel like the reason why Lex snuck Tommy is because you can't really get to her unless you do sneak her. That's just the thing. If you don't catch Tommy out of nowhere, you're not going to be able to get to her because security's going to protect her, or she's going to be somewhere hiding in the cut while her friends are getting beat up. So I think Lex did what she felt like she needed to do in that situation. I don't agree with sneaking people, but I see why she did it. But those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Baddies USA Chapter 2, Episode 7. So let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video.